In this video, let us discuss about support vector machines. Support vector machine is a supervised learning technique that can be used for both classification and regression problem. The goal of support vector machines is to find a best hyperplane that separates the dataset into different classes. Let us start with a simple problem. Suppose for a given dataset, you have to classify red triangles from blue circles. The goal is to create a line that classifies the data into two classes, red triangles and blue circles. So we can find out many lines that can separate the positive classes from the negative classes. Here are some examples. Among the many lines, which one is the best separating hyperplane? So consider these two lines. If you take this line, the distance to this point is small. We say the margin to this class is small. Similarly, the margin to the blue class is also small. Now take the darker line. It has got a larger margin compared to the lighter line. So this is the margin to this class, and similarly this is the margin to this class. So this has a higher margin than the lighter line. The goal of SVM is to create the best hyperplane that classifies these classes. That is, what do you mean by the best hyperplane? That is, the hyperplane which has got the maximum margin to both the classes. So the margin to both the classes should be the maximum. Then only we can say that the hyperplane is the best hyperplane. So what do you mean by a hyperplane? Hyperplanes are decision boundaries that help to classify the data points. In two dimension, the hyperplane is simply a line. Similarly, in three dimension, the hyperplane is simply a plane. So hyperplane, it is a general name. In n-dimensional space, a hyperplane is a subspace of n minus dimension. For example, if you have got 5 dimension, then hyperplane is having the dimension 4. So it is a hyperplane, it is a general term. So the data points on each class that are closer to the hyperplane are known as support vectors. So for this red triangle class, so this is the point that is closer to this hyperplane. So this is a support vector. Similarly, on this side, this point and this point lies closer to the hyperplane. So these two are support vectors. So the data points on each class that are closer to the hyperplane are known as support vectors, and that is where the name comes from, support vector machine. The support vectors influence the position and orientation of the hyperplane. The distance between the hyperplane and the support vectors is known as the margin. So this is a distance from the hyperplane to this class, this support vector, and similarly, this is the distance from this hyperplane to this support vector. So this total distance, it is known as the margin of this hyperplane. So SVM is used to classify data by using a hyperplane such that the distance between the hyperplane and the support vectors is the maximum. So the distance between the hyperplane and the support vector, it is known as the margin. So that means the margin should be the maximum. The aim of support vector machine is to maximize this margin. So this margin, it should be maximized. When the margin reaches its maximum, a hyperplane becomes the optimal hyperplane. So optimal hyperplane means the hyperplane which has the maximum distance from the support vectors. Here, the aim is to find the best hyperplane without tolerating any form of misclassification. So optimal hyperplane means the margin should be the maximum. At the same time, there should not be any misclassification. That means all the training examples should be correctly classified using this hyperplane. So to one side, it is all blue circle, and the other side of the hyperplane, it is all red rectangle. So all the points have been correctly classified, and this hyperplane has got the maximum margin, and it is known as the optimal hyperplane. The given n training examples, where each example x are of b dimension, and each have class label either +1 or -1 class, and our examples are linearly separable. So that means each training example x have class label of either +1 or -1. That means it belongs to either positive class or negative class. And our examples are linearly separable. That means there exists a linear boundary between these two classes. Then only we can say that our examples are linearly separable. So the equation of a straight line is given as wx plus b equal to 0, where w is the weight vector and x is the input vector and b is the bias term. So using this hyperplane, all the data points should be correctly classified. Then all data points that satisfies the equation xi dot w plus b greater than or equal to +1 belongs to positive class. That means yi equal to +1. And all the data points that satisfies xi dot w plus b less than or equal to -1 belongs to minus class. That means yi equal to -1. Combining the above two equations, it can be written as yi into xi dot w plus b -1 greater than or equal to 0. So here yi can be either +1 or -1. So this is the combined form of this above two equations. Consider two parallel lines that passes through the support vectors. So here H1, it is a parallel line that passes through the support vectors on the blue circle side, and its equation is wx plus b equal to +1. We assume that this is a positive class. And similarly, this H2 is the line that passes through the support vector of the negative class. So here the equation is wx plus b equal to -1. So the distance between the H1 hyperplane and the origin. So this hyperplane and the origin is given as 1 minus b by norm of w. Similarly, the distance between H2 hyperplane and the origin is equal to this hyperplane and the origin is equal to -1 minus b by norm of w. Norm of w means it is the length of the vector w. Hence the margin. So the margin, the distance between these two parallel lines is the margin. Hence the margin can be computed as m, it is a margin, is equal to 1 minus b by norm of w. This value minus -1 minus b. So this value by norm of w. So this is equal to 2 by norm of w. So 2 by norm of w is the margin. It's the margin between these two hyperplanes. Hence, our objective is to find a hyperplane that maximizes the margin. That means we want to maximize the margin by 2 by norm of W, subject to the constraint Wi into xi dot W plus b minus 1 greater than or equal to 0 for all I. That means we should maximize the hyperplane at the same time. All the training examples should be correctly classified. So this constraint should be satisfied only if all the examples are correctly classified. So our objective is to maximize this value at the same time satisfying this condition. In practice, maximizing 2 over norm of W is considered a harder problem compared to solving its inverse objective. Hence, the reciprocal term half of norm of W square is minimized, which can be solved using quadratic programming. So this is the mathematical formulation of SVM. Given a 2-class linearly separable dataset with n examples, so that means xi, ya, x2, y2, etc. up to x and yn, where ya is element of +1 or -1. That means ya belongs to positive class or negative class, and x element of d-dimensional space. Find a vector w and a number b which minimizes half of w square subject to the constraint yi into xi dot w plus b minus 1 greater than or equal to 0 for I equal to 1, 2, etc. up to n. So here maximizing this margin is equal to minimizing this term, half of w square. And the condition here is that all the training examples should be correctly classified. So this equation will become, this inequality will become true only if all the examples are correctly classified. So this is a quadratic optimization problem. So we can solve this using Lagrange's multiplier. So here is a solution using Lagrange's multiplier. So the W, the weight vector, is equal to sigma over all I, alpha I, yi, xi, where xi is the support vector and alpha I is the learned weight. So this, the weight term alpha I are non-zero only at support vectors. Then b equal to ya minus w dot xi. So now we can rewrite our equation for the straight line. W dot x plus b equal to, so replace the term w with this term, that is sigma I alpha I w ya xi dot x plus b. Here x is a new example that we are going to test and xi is the support vectors. So here is our classifier. F of x is equal to sine of wx plus b. That means the sine of the hyperplane. So this is equal to sine of sigma I alpha I w I xi dot x plus b. So if the value of this equation is less than 0, then we classify the example, the new instance x as negative. If f of x is greater than 0, then we classify as positive. So far, we have assumed that the dataset is perfectly linearly separable, which doesn't really happen in real scenario. So let us consider an example where perfect separation is not possible. So remember, here also we are dealing with linearly separable data, but perfect separation is not possible due to some noise in the data. So here you can see that. So there is one red point here. So because of this red point, we cannot find a perfect linear separation between these two classes. So in this case, we'll allow some form of misclassification. So we take this value and this value as a support vectors from this side, and this term as support vectors from this side. So here, this point is misclassified. So in order to get a good hyperplane, we allow some form of misclassification, and that is known as the soft margin hyperplane. Soft margin hyperplane means the hyperplane attempts to maximize the margin separating the two classes with some degree of misclassification. So here we allow some degree of misclassification while maximizing the margin. So that is known as the soft margin hyperplane. So in this case, a new variable named slack variable is introduced to define the inequality constraint as yi into w xi plus b greater than or equal to 1 minus zeta I. So zeta is the slack variable. The slack variable indicates how much the point can violate the margin. The slack variable helps to define three types of data points. If zeta is equal to 0, then the corresponding point zeta is on the margin or the further away. If 0 less than zeta less than 1, then the point is within the margin and classified correctly. If zeta is greater than or equal to 1, then the point is misclassified and present at the wrong side of the hyperplane. So the zeta is a misclassification penalty. Hence, we want to minimize it during optimization. So here you can see that this is a misclassified point. So here for zeta is greater than 1 means the point is misclassified. If zeta is in between 0 and 1, the point is between the margin and the correct side of the hyperplane. So here you can see that this point lies within the margin, but it is on the correct side of the hyperplane. So then the value of zeta will be in between 0 and 1. So zeta is equal to 0 means the points are either support vectors or other points that are correctly classified. So now we redefine the mathematical formulation of the SVM that allows this classification. That means it is a soft margin hyperplane. So here, find a vector W and a number B which minimizes half of norm of W square plus C into sigma I equal to 1 to n zeta I. So subject to this constraint, yi xi dot w plus b greater than or equal to 1 minus zeta. So here C and K are constants which balances the cost of misclassification. So when the value of C becomes very small, then this term becomes 0. That means the number of misclassification allowed become negligible. So C has a higher value, then this term has a higher weightage in this equation. So now let us discuss about non-linear SVM. So consider this set of example. So we want to classify red dots and blue dots. So there are no way to classify the point using a linear hyperplane. So that means this set of training example are non-linear data set. So now assume that we transform this. So this is a one-dimensional data set. So we transform it to two-dimension. So here the x-axis is the original x-axis and the y-axis represents x square. So we will get the data set like this. So now it is linearly separable. So using this line, we can separate between the red points and the dot points. So that means projecting data that is not linearly separable into a higher dimensional space can make it linearly separable. So we'll take another example. So this is a non-linear data set. So on a two-dimensional plane. So convert this to a higher dimension. For example, we convert this to a three-dimension. So now on the z-axis, it is x1 square plus x2 square. So now the data set becomes linearly separable and we can separate them using a plane here. So that means if the data set is not linearly separable, transform it to a high dimension in which it can be linearly separable. And then we can use the SVM classifier. So this is the equation of the SVM classifier. So we have seen this equation earlier. So now in the case of non-linear data, first we have to transform the input to a higher dimension space. So that means here we are using a transformation function phi. Phi is a transformation function. First, we want to transform this input to a higher dimension using a transformation function and then apply the dot operation. So this is the equation for a non-linear SVM. Sine of sigma I alpha I ya phi of xi dot phi of x plus b, where x is a new instant and xi is a support vector machine. So we found a way to classify nonlinear data by cleverly mapping our space to a higher dimension. So this is mapping to a higher dimension. However, it turns that calculating this transformation function is highly expensive. So we will get a linear separation here, but the transformation is highly computationally expensive. So in order to reduce the computational expense, we find out a different technique known as the kernel method. So K, it is a kernel function. So this dot product can be replaced using a kernel function K. So which has got the same output as the output of this dot product operation. So that is known as kernel method. Support vector machine. So this represents a support vector machine using the kernel method. So a kernel function means a function that takes the 6 input vectors in the original space and returns the dot product of the vectors in the feature space is called the kernel function. So K is the kernel function here. So this is equivalent to phi of xi dot phi of xk. So phi means it is a transformation function to a higher dimension and then taking the dot product. So this is, if this function is equivalent to this dot product operation, then it is known as the kernel function. So the kernel function calculates a high dimension relationship without actually transforming the data to higher dimension. This is known as the kernel trick. So we have seen that computing this transformation function is highly expensive. The same result that we got using the kernel function without explicitly transforming to a higher dimension. So this is known as the kernel trick. So to qualify as a kernel, the function K must be a dot product. That means K of xi xj should be a dot product of phi of xi dot phi of j, where phi is a mapping from the original feature space into a different feature space. SVM can be used to classify non-linear data by using the kernel functions. Now let us take an example. Assume that x is a vector in 2 dimension and y is another vector in 2 dimension. So now we define a kernel function like k or k on x of y equal to the dot product of x and y the whole square. So we have to show that this is a kernel function. Let us check whether k is a kernel function or not. So k, it is a dot product of x and y square. So this is equal to x1 y1 plus x2 y2 the whole square. This is equivalent to x1 square y1 square plus 2x1 y1 x2 y2 plus x2 square y2 square. So now let us define a transformation function coordinate. Phi of x. So this is a coordinate in 3 dimension. x1 square root of 2x1, x2, x2 square. So this is in 3 dimension. Similarly, phi of y equal to y1 square root of 2 y1 by 2 y2 square. Again in 3 dimension. So now take the dot product of x and y. So this is equivalent to x1 square y1 square plus square root of x1 x2 into square root of y1 y2 plus x2 square plus y2 square. So this is equivalent to x1 square y1 square plus 2x1 x2 y1 y2 plus x2 square y2 square. So this is equivalent to k of x xy. So that means we can say that our function k is a kernel function. Now let us see some of the important kernel functions. So we assume that x is a vector of x1, x2, etc. up to xn, and y is another vector y1, y2, etc. up to yn. So our first kernel function is homogeneous polynomial function. So kxy equal to x dot y whole raised to d, where d is a positive integer. Non-homogeneous polynomial kernel means k of xy is equal to x dot y plus theta whole raised to d, where d is a positive integer and theta is a real constant. Radial basis kernel function is given as kxy is equal to e raised to norm of x minus y whole square by 2 into sigma square. So this is also known as the Gaussian radial function kernel. Laplacian kernel function is given by e raised to minus x minus y by sigma. Hyperbolic tangent kernel function is given as tan of alpha into x dot y plus c. This is also known as a sigmoid kernel function. These are some of the common kernel functions.